Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Gebo the Shaman, and today I'm going to be talking about uh you know Kundalini yoga, Hatha yoga, and somatic what is it called? Somatic movements. So they're all very, they all seem very closely related and kind of similar. However, there are some key differences. So Um, uh, I I actually got a comment on my channel, but from someone asking me to do a video on this topic. She says, I think it's a her. I don't know. This person says, "Do you have any opinion on the difference between somatic movements and yoga?" Now, I was not completely familiar the with somatic movements, so I had to do a bit of research on that, but I did that. And it's interesting. Um, Somatic movements tend to be um, things based upon healing, like physical healing and emotional healing. Like there's an emotional component to that where you can do certain exercises if you're in certain moods or things like that. And I think there's a benefit to that. I definitely do. The you know when you're in an emotional state, it's hard to get out of that without some form of action, some form of activity. So when you don't take any activity, when you don't get your body moving, there tends to be a stagnation where it's like you just keep on, in the same emotional frame, in the same emotional um you know mood, and basically stay in the same state. However, with somatic movements, somatic therapy, and things like that, um, it really gets you feeling the emotions in your body and things like that. So that's a positive thing. Um, so yeah, that's somatic movements as far as I understand. And yeah, it is, relaxation. It is um, stretching and movement and things like that. And that's all great. I love that, and there's a place for that. There's a point to that, and I, you know, uh, I don't have anything negative to say about that. The difference between that and yoga. Now, a lot of people refer to yoga as, they just see people doing certain yoga postures or yoga movements and things like that, and they say, "Oh, yoga." Well, there's different kinds of yogas. Um, you know, there's hatha yoga, there's kundalini yoga, there's different types of yogas. So, and yoga is not limited to just body movements. There is a form of living where you live minimally and you give back to others and you become this spiritual person. That is also a yoga. There's different kinds of yogas. So, what I'm assuming this person is referring to, what 99% of people refer to as yoga, is actually hatha yoga. And let me just tell you the story about hatha yoga, how that was formed and things like that. A bunch of Westerners went to India and they said, "Guru, please teach me um, the spiritual practices that will cause me, that will help me to enlighten myself." They said, "Okay, very well. Here, let's get you stretching. Let's get your body moving and stretching and things like that so that you can be prepared to do the higher level spiritual practices." They all went, "That's great." And So before they got to the higher level spiritual practices, they needed years and years of stretching in order to stretching and certain postures and things like that to get their body to be able to energetically handle the higher level practices. Except Westerners, as we are very impatient, and we, don't like take the time to actually sit under a guru and learn and, complete the lower level training. Then we go up to the medium level, complete that, and then we go to the high level. So there's a sense of impatience from Westerners. And as soon as they learn something or think they know something about something, they go and teach it to other people. So this is why we have Hatha yoga prevalent in throughout the US and throughout the world. And that serves a purpose. As much as I think it's kind of silly and unnecessary, it serves a purpose because Hatha yoga is what the gurus used to get people ready for the higher level Kundalini work, Kundalini practices, and things like that. So, to get their bodies attuned to that energy and things like that. So, because the body is a spiritual instrument, and in order to get the Kundalini flowing better up the spine and then down the spine, uh, there has to be, you have to attune your body to that energy. So that's what the Buddhas were teaching them. So these impatient Westerners came to the United States and started teaching it and started doing certifications and all kinds of stuff. And yeah, they basically taught people how to stretch. And there's a place for that's great, but it's not spiritual work. It's not spiritual work, guys. There is no spiritual benefit to yoga or hatha yoga. Um, you know, so that's why I do Kundalini yoga. I teach Kundalini yoga. You can find my Qigong course, which has Kundalini in it, Kundalini yoga in it. It's called the Self Transformation Challenge. There's another one that goes by the name of Cosmic Qigong, which just is purely Qigong. But another thing I mentioned I saw with somatic experiencing is that they said that they use slow movements. And I'm like, well, what does that remind me of? Oh, Qigong. Qigong has also slow movements, so I guess we'll talk about that a little bit. So yeah, the difference between somatic experiencing and yoga. Somatic movements therapy is basically it's more internally focused. It's you don't Hatha yoga is very much okay. You got to hit a certain posture, and if you're not doing it right, you know, you know, it's like you'll get scolded for that, and it's all about the external, like how your body is shaped and what movements and where your legs are placed and where your arms are placed and things like that. So it's all very technical. Hatha yoga is very technical. And you know, I can't even do a lot of the hatha yoga exercises, but I can do Kundalini yoga, and I've been doing it for over 4 years. So, it's definitely something that takes practice, but it's worth it. So, all right. Let's see. So, differences between, so, I think that there's a good place for somatic movements. That's great. You want to become more in touch with your feelings and emotions. Wonderful. If you want to get your body moving, get better range of motion, get the blood flowing and body moving, wonderful. That's great. That's a great form of movement to do. So then we have Kundalini yoga. I explained about Hatha yoga, and now we're talking about Kundalini yoga. So there is a strong, a clear distinction between Kundalini yoga and Hatha yoga and Somatic movements. Kundalini yoga is basically a spiritual practice. It is not a stretching practice. It is not a spinal movement practice. It is a spiritual practice. Why is that? Kundalini, as many people say on YouTube, they say Kundalini is the life force of the universe. That is false. Utterly false. You will not find Kundalini in animals. You will not find Kundalini in plants. You can find Qi in plants. You can find Qi in animals. That is the life force of the universe. You can find Qi in all things. That's why I do Qigong. It's tapping into the life force of the universe. Kundalini yoga is tapping into Kundalini. Now, Kundalini is not the life force of the universe, but it is a psychological tool it is a tool for psychological growth and maturity that is only found in humans. You won't find it in apes, you won't find it in any other primate, only humans. And the reason for that is because we have this thing called a consciousness, a soul, a personality. So Kundalini yoga, if you want true, real psychological maturity and consciousness, a higher consciousness, a higher state of consciousness, then the thing to do is Kundalini yoga. Kundalini yoga, a lot of people say it builds or it forms Kundalini, or it builds your Kundalini up. Your Kundalini, you'll have as much Kundalini as you already need. You already have as much Kundalini as you will ever need in your body already. The practice of Kundalini yoga is designed to clean and cleanse the Kundalini. Kundalini is found at the base of the spine. It is like a snake. It rises up the spinal column. It goes to the head, to the crown chakra, and then it doesn't stop at the crown. The other practice of Kundalini, the final enlightenment is when it goes from the crown chakra down the body, through the spinal column, back to the root, back to the base survival instincts, is the root chakra. So when we can have our highest awareness, our highest you know, consciousness, highest, self-awareness and things like that, when we can have that go back down to the root, that is when we become enlightened. Because it goes, oh, I'm an eternal being. I'm a being, a beautiful being of light. There's nothing to fear. There's nothing to be scared of. There's nothing that can harm me. And that's when you'll be enlightened. You'll release the fears, and then you'll release like any like you'll become aware of how to um feel your feelings and have your feelings in a healthy way without acting out on others and things like that. The sacral chakra is designed to have you help you it pertains to not only sex but also to creativity and getting along with others and joy and fun and things like that. Hold on, guys, because I know my dogs are going to go crazy. So just a sec. Okay, I think we're good now. So basically, what I was saying is about the sacral chakra. Basically, what the Kundalini does when it goes to the crown is that's not the final journey. It goes to the crown, and then what it's supposed to do is come back down each of those chakras, enlightening, basically bringing that highest awareness to not only the third eye, but also, the throat chakra, heart chakra, solar plexus, sacral chakra, and root chakra. So it goes up and then it goes down. So it's bringing highest awareness to each of those areas of life, each of those chakras. You can look into the meaning of those chakras and things like that to get a better understanding. But yeah, that's pretty much what Kundalini Yoga does. Now, for the, for the people that are new to this, there's just no better way that I could explain it than it brings enlightenment. It's Kundalini Yoga is a very user-friendly way to enlighten yourself, to make yourself better in all areas of life. It shows you, hey, you should, stop smoking weed. You should stop drinking. You should stop doing these different things. And, you should start eating healthier. You should, be kinder to people. You should not let people step on you and instead go live a life that you want to live. It teaches you different lessons, and all of this is internal. Kundalini Yoga, it's internal, and it comes from you, and it's just like higher guidance. So, anyway, Kundalini is described as a snake going up the spine, and snake comes from the word naga. Snake, snug, naga. Those are all the same things. So, there are, it was said that we had almost like extraterrestrials that were these wise snake beings and stuff like that. Anyway, you don't have to get into all that, but it was said that they taught us Kundalini Yoga. And but what is a snake? A snake is wise. A snake is sharp. We could describe it as mentally sharp. As a, just wise and sharp and smart and things like that. So, hold on, guys. So essentially, so that's the internal system of Kundalini yoga. And, so then we have another thing that I was going to talk about, which was Qigong. So, oh yeah, and sorry, before I go to that, so like I said, when you do Kundalini yoga, it is a spiritual practice, and you will get these intuitions, these hints, and they will pop up as you're mid practice, going like I teach you guys. I have Kundalini yoga practices on my channel, on my courses right here. The Qigong course. Get it at kebaldeshaman.com. And so there is a mantra that you can do when you, like, maybe after you've done like 30 minutes of Kundalini yoga, you can do this mantra. Om Namah Shivaya, Namo Nageshwaraya. It's saying Om Namah Shivaya, which is basically, I bowed to Shiva, the king of the Nagas, the lord of the Nagas. So basically that's what it is. Om Namah Shivaya, Namo Nageshwaraya. I'll put it in the comments so you guys can have it. And it's Ong, not Om. So there's a whole different thing that I could teach about mantras and things like that. So, yeah, that's what I do. I pair that. Sometimes, if you don't have a mantra that I gave you in my astrology reading, which I do, I give everybody a personalized mantra that they can do to empower themselves and become more spiritual, have their, fulfill their dreams and desires and things like that. And so if you do that on a daily basis, it will transform you into fulfilling your dharma, fulfilling your spiritual destiny. So, this mantra is another thing that you could use in lieu of your mantra to your dharma devata, which you'll get in my astrology reading. So the mantra, it goes, again, I'll repeat it again for you guys for a few times so you can kind of get it. But you really need to do this mantra with some kind of Kundalini yoga practice, which I recommend my self-transformation challenge to you guys. That's a great Kundalini yoga practice. All right, so the mantra goes, let me grab my water here. So that mantra is Ong, O-N-G, Namo, N-A-M-O, Shivaya, S-H-I-V-A-A-Y-A, Namo, same, N-A-M-O, and then Nageshwaraya. Nageshwaraya is like the king of the Nagas, the wise serpents. And that's spelled Nageshwaraya. Yeah. I was just thinking about it. But anyway, it goes Om Namah Shivaya, Namo Nageshwaraya, Om Namo Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namo Nageshwaraya. So it's Om Namo, sorry, Om Namah Shivaya, Namo Nageshwaraya. So anyway, so yeah, that's one for Kundalini Yoga. And so then we'll talk about Qigong. So Qigong is another energy work practice, as along with, well, it is, so with Kundalini Yoga, you're working on your psychological energy. So Kundalini is a psychological, energetic exercise. So then we have Qigong, which is basically Qi, energy. Qi means energy, and Gong means work. So energy work. So with Qigong, you're doing very slow movements, forming the ball. You're doing different things like that, and even like opening and closing like the ball and things like that. Working with energy. So the more you do Qigong, the more the energy of the universe will flow through you. And the thing about that is, with Qigong, you're opening up your energetic meridians. So there's, energy flowing through your hands and your palms and your arms, and it goes, there's a certain type of energy that is called the Shin energy. And that uses the pericardium meridian, which basically goes from like your nipple area to up above your shoulder, through your arm to up your hand. And so yeah, basically once that's open, like, you can do amazing things. Like, there are people who have been known to fight spirits, fight demons, and things like that, just using their own energy. And these people were called the Maoshan spirit fighters. And they lived upon Maoshan Mountain in China. So they were the first, what did you say? They were like the first people who taught spirit fighting, or like, martial arts and energetic martial arts. There were others that taught like, kung fu or whatever, things like that. But these were the first people who taught energetic martial arts. Fighting using not only your physical body, but also the energy within you. And these guys, like, my teacher told me a story of, because he used to train under these guys. This, I didn't know about this, but his master used to go like this. He would just flick his arm like that, and he would say, "Look, there's no real muscle energy going into this." And he would say, "Okay, I'm gonna go to you, and I'm just gonna tap you with the energy." And when he did, the the energy hit him, and he was like, "Whoa!" He wanted to jump out of his skin, because it was such a powerful energy. But this guy wasn't using any physical energy. He was just limp and weak. There's no real damage that he could have done if he just slapped him like that. No. So these are the things that you'll learn about if you take my courses, and if you subscribe to the channel, or join the channel with a membership. I'll be talking about these things in depth. And yeah, so it's so basically what happens with Qigong is you'll open up these energy meridians within your body, and the energy will flow through you, and you'll start to, like, I've heard of people like losing a lot of weight because of this. They'll their like fingernails and hair will be stronger. Calcified areas like their ankles and things like that, or their heels, all that dead skin will just fall off, because you're basically going from a small little wire that transmits a very little tiny amount of energy through your body. You're going from that to this massive energetic wire that's like, transmitting a crap ton of energy through your through your body. And so what happens is, like, it goes to the cells that are alive, and then the cells that are dead kind of just fall off, and it strengthens everything in your body. But not only that, when you learn to flow with this energy, there's an interesting thing that happens with your mind. This Qigong exercises are like a meditation, an active form of meditation, where you can just sit there and do the energy exercises and, things like that, and you'll just go into the state of meditation. And you build up your energy, and then you can use that as a vehicle to not only manifest what you want here in this 3D world, but also go and, use that energy to propel you to more spiritual experiences. Go, out of body and things like that. So, the all those are all very good reasons to do qigong, not only for health benefits but also for, spiritual benefits. When I started doing qigong, it started transforming me. Um, you know, to from this limited little being who had, disabilities and limitations to, oh, I can do anything now. I can accomplish anything. Started the channel and made these courses up here and made this book, all because of Qigong and Kundalini yoga, and things like that. So, yes, that's transformed my life. And again, guys, when I talk about Qigong, I'm not talking about. This is another thing that needs to be made clear. A lot of people think that Qigong is just okay, like kind of like Tai Chi. You just go do these very smooth movements and whatever, and you know, nothing's really happening. Yeah, you get physically better. Your body becomes physically more empowered, but there's no spiritual benefit to that, or very very little, I would say. In the qigong that I teach, this is more called neigong. So it's taking the so that's another thing. Qigong takes energy from your surrounding environment, and it draws it into you, and then you can use that to do your energy work. Neigong is taking the infinite energy within you, and it is expanding it to become, more uh, more prominent in your 3D reality. So it's taking the spiritual energy within you and it's expanding that. So it's very important to know the difference between these two, and I cover that in my courses. So if you're interested. Let's see. So yeah, the other thing that my style of qigong does, that I teach, the style that I teach, is it taps into the Shen energy of your body. The Shen energy is the heart center energy, the lightning energy of the heart center. And Shen is the energy that is used to protect and encapsulate your soul. Because if your soul, this little tiny being, this little tiny speck of light, infinite light, if that were to interact with 3D reality, it would engulf the entire world. It would like literally destroy 3D reality. So, so it has to be protected. through this electromagnetic field called Shen energy. And so it's encapsulated, and not only is it protecting the 3D world from the light of the soul, it is also protecting the soul from the 3D world, because the 3D world can be very harsh and limiting, and people can be a-holes, and people can say mean things, and there's a lot of hurt, trauma, and things like that that can happen as a result of living in this limited, dense world. So that's why we have this Shen energy. So it protects us. It basically holds those traumas away from the soul, rather than it's like protecting the soul from having any kind of trauma or anything that experience it. So essentially, when we work with that energy, we're saying it's okay, we're safe, we are okay, we're safe, we're not in any harm, because, and then once the Shen energy gets activated, it will then release those traumas and hurts and scars and things like that into the soul. And then the soul will have a chance to process that. This is why it's so important, because our emotions get stagnant, and if we all our lives if we're constantly burying our emotions, this chi energy will then bring them up for healing and processing, and transformation, transforming the old negative energies into something that can really help us, and help us grow and help us spiritually mature and things like that. The other thing, so that's Qigong and Neigong, which I teach. And then the other thing that is, super helpful, that I've found helpful, it's not a physical exercise, it's not a anything like that, but it is 12 steps, the 12 steps. You can apply the 12 steps to anything, literally anything. If you have, the 12 steps wasn't originally created because of people who were struggling with alcoholism, and they needed a way to free themselves from the bondage of alcoholism, because they couldn't do it on their own. They had no control over their willpower. They couldn't do it on their own. They needed a higher power. They needed something outside of them that could help them to not drink. So this is why you hear all kinds of alcoholics and other people who are in 12-step programs referring to God. You might think of the Christian God, but it can be applied to anything. You want to call a doorknob your God, that's fine, because it opens the door to the meetings, to AA meetings, or to NA meetings, or to, Tobacco Anonymous, or Codependence Anonymous, or Sex Addicts Anonymous, things like that. So, in addition to any of these practices, I would highly recommend that anyone at all, literally, if you qualify, if you don't qualify, whatever, attend a 12-step meeting. Find one that you qualify for, is my suggestion. For example, anyone who is seeking healthy and loving relationships can go to Codependence Anonymous. If that's you, you can qualify for Coda. If you're an alcoholic, a drug addict, anything like that, you can qualify for NA or AA or MA or whatever. If you're sex addict, you go to Sex Addicts Anonymous. things like that. So, the 12 steps have been one of the most helpful things that have changed my life. And the 12 steps is a spiritual program because we are seeking the help of a higher power. You can refer to this as the universe, as God, as whatever. As I said, if you want to call a doorknob your higher power because it opens doors to meetings, that's great. But that works too. You want to call, nature your higher power, or whatever it is for you. It can be literally anything. The importance of a higher power is something is that it's something outside of you that you deem higher or greater than yourself. So, even like a 12-step fellowship can be a higher power. Things like that. So, yeah. So 12 steps, especially step 4 and 5. Work step 4 and 5 to the greatest of your ability, and you'll be set. Like, those are great. So, anyway, guys, I'm gonna jump off here. I do have a bunch of things to announce. You can become a member by clicking that join button. Please subscribe to my videos, to my channel, and get access to all my videos. You can become a member, and when you become a member, you'll have access to a whole bunch of member perks. We'll be doing members only live streams and questions and answers and all kinds of stuff for members only. You can check out my products, services, and courses up at my website, which is gebotheshaman.com. Alright? And go check out my book on Amazon, Tantric Secrets of Vedic Astrology. You can get that book on Amazon. Go search it, search my name. There's, in fact, a link on my website, gebotheshaman.com, if you want to go there. Check it out, guys. Alright? I offer Qigong courses. I offer, astrology certification courses, astrology readings, birth time rectification, rune readings, career coaching, life coaching, trauma healing courses, distance energy healing courses, or distance energy healing sessions with me. So, yeah, a bunch of stuff to offer you. So, go to my website and check it all out. Guys, take care. Peace. See y'all next time.